What's going on, you guys? Slim here to bring you guys a new deck profile today, and one that you guys have highly been requesting. And yes, I am profiling SHADDOLL INVOKED. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I post a video. You'll also be notified when I stream over on Twitch. Link is in the description. Of course, if you see any cards that you want to purchase, consider using my TCG player link. It's also in the description below. It helps me out, and I do appreciate that. With that out of the way, I'm going to let you guys know that this might actually be the last SHADDOLL INVOKED deck profile you see on this channel. The reason is I can guarantee when the Dragma cards come out next month with the Rise of Rampage, we're definitely going to see a big change in what the Invoked engine is going to do. SHADDOLL Rook is going to change everything. I'm sure some people will still try to play this variant, but I think more people will lean towards the Dragma Invoked SHADDOLL deck, so that's something we'll definitely see. What I decided to do for this deck profile today is keep it extremely simple for you guys. That's one thing I've been really trying to do with these deck lists. I want you to be able to build these decks and understand these decks and play these decks immediately. I think that the more simple you keep the list, the better it'll be. But I got a 40 card list for you guys, and I hope that you guys do enjoy. One thing I'll let you guys know, since this is SHADDOLL Invoked, my brother and I have been working on Chaos SHADDOLLs. If you guys do want to see that, just give this profile one of these, smash that like button, 100 plus likes, and we will definitely present our version, which is very different from a lot of versions, but our versions of Chaos SHADDOLLs. So smash that like button and we'll get to it. But onto the deck profile. So for the monsters, of course, what can I say? Every deck profile, the All-Star himself, All-Star, the Invoker, Alistair the Invoker. As long as I can play this card, I'm going to play it. You guys know this. This is easily in my top 5 favorite monsters, favorite archetypes, favorite everything that is Yu-Gi-Oh! Of all time. I absolutely love Alistair. He just does everything. This card is just so insane. I'm going to play him for as long as I possibly can. That's it for obviously the only Invoke monster. For the SHADDOLL engine, my SHADDOLL engine has pretty much stayed the same the entire time, but for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it is 3 copies of Wendy. It's the best one, obviously, and the only other 3 of is 3 copies of Squamata. So these are basically any SHADDOLL in your deck. That's why you want to max out on them. They're the best ones. They just get everything going. Wendy is insane. Squamata is insane. Being able to, send Squamata, send Wendy, use an effect is just crazy. I really, really like both of these SHADDOLLs. I think they're the best ones, and like I said, that's why you max out on them. The 2 of, I've got 2 copies of Hedgehog. I don't think you need 3. I know in early builds people were playing playing 3 copies of this, 3 copies of Beast, 3 copies of everything, and I feel that's just not necessary. I feel that the SHADDOLLs kind of are like not the best cards to draw. Like, you want to draw them, of course, with Alistair or with fusion cards to make them more live, but I like just the 2 copies of Hedgehog, and of course 2 copies of Beast. Beast has always been one of my favorites. The ability to draw cards is great. However, again, you don't want to just bog your hand down with SHADDOLLs if you don't have fusion cards to get going. We're not playing Super Poly in this build, so you don't have the ability to just kind of Super Poly away everything, so I wanted to keep it minimalistic as far as the SHADDOLLs go. And then the one-ofs, of course, are just the Ariel. This card's nice, and the Dragon for back row and stuff. But I decided to keep it extremely simple for the SHADDOLLs. I don't think this lineup has really changed that much. I feel like this is the lineup I've always been playing in this deck. And I played this deck on and off. You guys have seen it on stream sometimes. But I think that this is honestly the ideal lineup for the SHADDOLL monsters. I think it's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so 12 SHADDOLL monsters. I think it's enough. I think it gets the job done. And then the kind of, I guess you can call it the extra engine card is just Trick Clown. I wanted to play Hat Tricker. I wanted to play Damage Juggler. I thought about playing those cards. However, Trick Clown is pretty good, especially if you don't draw it. Sending it for SHADDOLL Fusion for an extra body is insane. If you do happen to draw it in your hand, being able to still like El SHADDOLL or SHADDOLL Fusion from your hand is great too, so you can still get it to the graveyard and then recur it. I think this is the best like light target you can play next to one of the hand traps we play. I think it's just one of the better cards to have for making constructs, so that's why that card is in there. I feel it's the only clown you need though. And then to the hand traps, of course, you do play triple Nibiru in this deck. Nibiru obviously is one of the best hand traps in this format. Don't need to tell you what it's good against. You guys already know it's good against the meta in general and just against players who overextend. However, this card also gets extra mileage in this deck because it is a light. Being able to make construct is the name of the game, so I really like what Nibiru brings to the table for this deck. And then the only other hand trap I decided to play, like I said, we kept it simple, is just triple Phantasme. The reason for Phantasme is pretty simple. I want to draw into my Nibiru, I want to draw into my combo cards, and I want to be able to do things, especially if I'm going second with the deck. Phantasme is great. A lot of people don't like this card, and it confuses me because pretty much every deck Link summons still. Like, we all thought that Phantasme was not going to see any play. We were all wrong. Phantasme is fantastic. Obviously, the Eldritch Synchro deck needs it. Obviously, the Rock deck needs it. Every deck that's comboing with Needle Fiber, that's comboing with Link Ross, all those decks, Auroradon, etc., they all Link summon. And guess what? You just drop Phantasme, fix your hand, and put a body on board, which is great. Not only that, it's also really good against the Dragon Link deck. So I feel it's just good across the board, and it's good to just have it along with Nibiru because they combo great together, being able to draw into your Nibiru. So that's super important. That's it for the monsters. Like I said, we kept it very simple with the monster lineup. For the spells, of course, triple meltdown. Obviously, you want to see your Alistair. It's like the best card in the deck. This card is just insane. Like, what can I say? It's just more copies of Alistair. And then we are playing 3 copies of Invocation. Again, more fusion cards is really important for this deck. The reason why I cut Super Poly from the deck is I feel that Super Poly, while it is good against certain decks, it's not good against every deck in the format. I'd rather have cards that are more versatile and I can play going first and going second. I do like what Super Poly brings to the table, and it's definitely something you could side deck. However, I think it's just better to just play this main deck as straightforward as possible. It just makes it so that, you know, if you play against a matchup where Super Poly is dead, like, you don't have to Super Poly yourself. You can use your opponent's monster. So that's why I chose not to play Super Poly. But we maxed it out on Invocation because, yes, we are playing Triple Desires. I think Triple Desires is actually 100% correct in this deck. This is one of the few decks where you just play a crap ton of 3-ofs. If you guys noticed, outside of like the maybe 2-of Shaddolls here and there, we play so many 3-ofs in this deck. Desires is just great. You need that plus. It's just a fantastic card. I really like it. You can search out your Invocation and then Desires, and then you're good to go. So Desires is just fantastic in this deck. I really, really like it. As for those, and then for the other Shaddol cards, of course, Shaddol Fusion. This card's insane. And then to go with that, of course, El Shaddol Fusion. Quick play is just nuts. These cards are fantastic. Like, you just try to make construct if you're going first. Set it up with El Shaddol Fusion so you can El Shaddol Fusion during your opponent's turn, make a window, do whatever. You can do so many things. These cards are just amazing. Like, they're just fantastic. They're what makes Shaddol so strong, and I think that they're going to be the cards that are going to still see play for Shaddolls, even if the Shaddol engine lineup changes over time, even when Dragma's released. If any version of Shaddolls can be played, they're going to be maxing out on these. These cards are amazing. But those are the only Shaddol Fusions I play. I don't play any of the other ones. I don't think they're necessary. And then just one-ofs are just the Terraforming, of course, for Meltdown. And then the Foolish, this is like basically any card in your deck. This card's insane. And then I just play for the one trap, the one Rest Shaddol. This card's nuts. In the grind game, you can just keep bringing back your monsters, keep looping this, and it's just insane. It's also really good if you do that turn 1 combo with Aerial and whatnot. But being able to just continuously loop this with monsters is great. So that's it, you guys. It is a clean 40 cards. And then just the extra deck real quick. Like I said, we're keeping this deck super simple. I think you guys, you pick this up, you build it like this, you'll see what I mean. It just works. It flows really nicely. And even though the deck may, like I said, get kind of phased out when Dragman stuff come out, if you still want to play versions of Shaddolls, this is like one of the best builds you can play next to the Artifact build and other builds like that. But for the fusions, of course, double construct. I wish I could play 3. I just like to, the extra deck space, like, I wouldn't call it super tight, but since we are playing the Alistair and Friends, I think it's better to just have, you know, 2 copies of this, and then of course 2 copies of Window. Window's my favorite. Just, this card is insane. When Shaddol Root comes out, being able to make a window on your opponent's turn is just dumb. You have Makaba plus Winda. You can do that already in this deck going first. So you're already kind of doing it even without the Dragma cards. The Dragma cards will just add more like lockdown to your opponent's extra deck cards. So that's going to be insane. And then of course the 1-app Cologne. This card is going to be the reason why Shaddol Rook is going to be insane for any kind of version of Shaddolls. Being able to search Rook is ridiculous. And App Cologne just has an amazing effect. So I really, really like this card. You combo Rest Shaddol with App Cologne and you keep just impermanenting stuff every turn. So it's pretty crazy. Then on to the Invoked. I've only changed 1 card in here, but of course the 1 Makaba, the 1 Purgatrio, these just come up in different situations. Usually you make this first if you're going first. And then I changed out Kaliga for Agodius. I just really like Agodius. You guys know this in my Mech Knight Invoked build as well as Pure Mech Knights. I mean Pure Invoked. I really like this. I think that this card is really strong. It interacts on the opponent's turn as well, whether you do a summon or they do a summon. So I really like what this brings to the table. Being able to banish cards and then put this monster's attack point up is huge as well. It can help you OTK really easily. So I really like Agodius. I think it's a great card for the Invoked engine in general. Then just on to our links, of course, our 1 card Makaba. You guys already know. Standard stuff. Now the 1 card that I've gotten some flack on for playing, but it confuses me because I've seen some players, I've seen Doug play it, I've seen other people play it, and I agree 100% with it. I still think you should play Gravity Controller. The reason is okay, we are in Master Rule 5. Yes, you can summon Construct to wherever you want. However, if you do put in the extra monster zone and then you link it away, you at least can get your El Shaddol Fusion or whatever off a Construct and then set up your play for next turn. You can also just do whatever depending on your hand. I think Gravity Controller is really important. It also has a Grand Mole-like effect. It can't be destroyed by battle. I think the card's really strong, and I think that it still should be played in this deck, even in Master Rule 5. You can debate me all you want, so you might be right. I think the card's really good, though. There are probably other cards you could play, but I think that this card just has a reason to be played in this deck. I really, really like it. I think the card comes up a lot more than people give it credit for. Then just more standard stuff. The Cross Sheep, obviously, you're a fusion deck. the Alistair, the Mad Invoker. I mean, I don't know what to say. You just do multiple invocations in a turn. It also counts as Alistair itself on board or engraved. So if you don't have an Alistair for some reason, there's your Alistair right there. So card's great. Unicorn, just really good. I like this card, especially just being able to disrupt the opponent is fantastic. Just really good card for spinning away problematic cards. And then I decided to play the Boral Sword. I went back and forth. Do I want to play the Access Code Talker or do I want to play Boral Sword? Boral Sword just came up more for me. I might switch it around for Access Code. It just really depends. I got to test more with it. But for this first build, I think that this lineup is very standard and very easy for people to follow. And I think that's what's important when building a deck. But that's all I got to say for today, you guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said, give this video 100 plus likes. And my brother and I will bring Chaos Shaddolls to you guys. It's a really different take on the deck. I really like it. I like that Toon Chaos gave us the ability to play a deck like that. But for me, you guys know, I love anything invoked. Anything invoked, I'm going to play it. And Shaddol Invoked is no different. I may not play it as much as Mech-Man Invoked or Pure Mech Knights or anything with Alistair and friends, but I think it's definitely a deck that you guys should pay attention to. It may not have that much representation in the format, but I think that the Invoke cards will always be strong, the Shaddol cards will always be strong, and I think that it's just cool that you can bring the two engines together for anyone that's been trying to do that. I think this deck fell out of, kind of fell out of people's eyes, but I think it's better if more people, pay attention to it and give it a chance in the format no matter what. But that's all I gotta say, you guys. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and thank you for watching.